Hey everyone, it's George from the Race Space Podcast, a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast to promote the rise in obstacle course race in the Middle East. The series of episodes will contain interviews from obstacle course race athletes locally and internationally. We will also have interviews with race directors from Spartan Race to Tough Mudder, Desert Warrior Challenge to Ice Warrior Challenge, and different obstacle course race training groups in the Middle East. So please feel free to listen to these episodes, support the athletes, and support obstacle course race in the Middle East. And if you do have any feedback or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. And before we kickstart this episode, we have an important message, so check this out. Spartan is a global fitness brand with a 10 million strong community. We create transformational events, experiences, products, and content to help people, companies, and teams tear down boundaries and expand what they believe to be possible. From day one, nearly 2 decades ago, we've been champions of human transformation. We live to help people get outside, eat healthy, and develop habits that lead to a life of constant progress. With a family of brands, we push people from every corner of the globe outside their comfort zones and immerse them in a world of tough fitness and elite sports. We do this because when you can face and overcome adversity head-on, your potential is limitless. This year in December, in Abu Dhabi, the land of the gazelle, thousands of athletes and spectators will gather at the metropolis in the desert to compete for Spartan immortality. This is a unique opportunity to watch the world's best obstacle course race athletes compete for the World Championship and have your group conquer the course themselves. For Spartan World Championship ticket details and registrations to the program, see the link below. And there is also a discount code, so see the show notes below for the discount code and the registration link, and hopefully see you at Wathbah. Now let's kickstart today's episode. Hey everyone, it's George from the Race Space Podcast, and today we have a very special guest called Jayson Castillo, often called as Master Jayson. Now I really like this particular episode because when you listen to this episode, one thing which stands out Jayson from the other athletes is his enthusiasm in the obstacle course race. What I really liked what he said in this podcast was just having a good time when you're doing the obstacle course race. What was surprising for me that he was a sprinter, because I was under the impression that he does marathons, he does ultra marathons, but he's an absolute beast of ours, sprinting is concerned. He also shared his experience about obstacle course race in Romania, and he also has few suggestions to race directors. So if you're a race director, I think some of the points that he said is absolutely valid. And he also shared some of a very beautiful story about how helping people in the course actually helps the coach as well, and it makes a memorable experience for the athlete as well as for the coach too. Towards the end of the podcast, he's also given some suggestions, for fellow athletes, fellow listeners, in case you guys do want to go ahead and follow him up on his social media. What I'll do is, I'll also throw in his Instagram ID. I'll also throw in his training group. So in case you guys do want to follow him, the link for all of these things will be in the show notes below. So let's kickstart this episode. So Jayson, thank you so very much for doing this. Really, really do appreciate you taking part of being in this Rise in the OCR podcast. So how has your day been so far? Today's the last working day of the week, right?
Yeah, definitely great. It's the weekend and I gotta get home from 12:30 from office. So it's like a half day work.
Oh, that's really
More
nice,
time
man.
at home.
Yeah, so every Fridays you have just half day work, right?
Yeah, well, basically my company, you still have to make 40 hours per week. So what I do during the first 4 days is I work extra so I can leave early on Friday.
Ah, that is a brilliant move. And I think
it's like a flexible timing.
That's a lucky thing. And I think there are a couple of companies in Sharjah. I think they have 3 days working off also. And
They're doing the same. Which is good. I mean, it's up to you what you want to do.
Absolutely.
You want to work more in the week, or you want to come back home early in the weekend, spend the weekend longer than the usual,
That is absolutely brilliant, Jayson. Thanks so much for that. So Jayson, can you tell our listeners a bit about yourself? Where you're originally from and how did you move to Dubai and how did you get into obstacle course race?
Well, so basically, first of all, I'm in Abu Dhabi, but Dubai is not that far.
Yeah.
I was brought up here since I was 5 years old back in 1989.
Oh, okay.
So I literally grew up here as a child.
Okay.
Parents were here. We studied here, and yeah, fast forward to 30 years after,
Oh
I'm still
man,
here. Yeah.
that is brilliant. So you definitely have the entire experience in the change of UAE.
Yeah,
Absolutely, we get.
definitely. Yes. Before, like whenever weekend comes, we
Mm-hmm.
travel to Dubai most of the time. And
I
the
see.
only place to go through was Al Ghurair.
Oh yeah, I live quite
Okay.
nearby to Al Ghurair Mall. In fact, yeah.
That was like everyone's destination for a weekend, especially coming from Abu Dhabi, because we don't have much in Abu Dhabi. Everything was Dubai.
That is brilliant. That's great to know. I wasn't aware about that, and this is definitely kind of breaking news for me. And how did you get involved in obstacle course race, and how did you find out about OCR?
So let me tell you something about my like history for a while.
Uh-huh.
I'm basically a sprinter. So I'm
Okay.
more of a short distance runner,
Uh-huh.
100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters. So I don't normally run like 5K, 10K. All right.
Okay.
And then, yeah, one day a friend of mine just suddenly say, let's go join this event. I said, what event? Something new, something different. Okay, let's go. And I'm like, I'm just register now, think later kind of guy, you know? Okay,
Yeah.
now what? So I didn't know that we're going for something that requires physical preparations for such races. So the
Uh-huh.
first time I've done an OCR, I didn't know what OCR meant that time.
Uh-huh.
It was the Desert Warrior Challenge.
Oh, okay.
So it was in 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah. So my friend, he got free 4 tickets. So he told me, okay, get me 2 more. So we were like, I don't know. I don't know anyone else who likes these things, you know? So I
Yeah.
just brought up my 2 brothers, younger ones, and I
Oh,
told them,
okay.
let's go. Where are we going? Just let's go.
That is absolutely
So
crazy. I mean,
it is nice. It was unexpected. And I saw the photos like online. What is the
uh-huh.
Desert Fire Challenge? And I was like, whoa, this is nice. And then my friend was just telling me about it, like, let's just go, let's just try it out. And it's free. What else? What you can lose, you know? That's free. Let's try. So we
And
did it.
yeah, and when you saw the photographs, I mean, did you try to look at any YouTube videos as well in terms of, I'm not sure if YouTube videos were there for Desert Warrior Challenge back then or.
Back then I was not into YouTube. I didn't even know YouTube existed in
Oh, yeah,
2015. Okay, I know YouTube was there, but it's not like nowadays. Like every
correct.
day it's YouTube clips and all that. So I just went to the website because my
Uh,
friend told me it's called Desert Warrior Challenge. Oh, it's a challenge.
yeah,
Then I Googled it and all. I've seen the photos, like clips from the website itself. And I was like interested about it. It's interesting. Big guy, muscle guy, endurance type of people doing such race. And I was like, okay, let's try it. Why not? Because I'm always confident in doing new things, especially adventurous things. So
and what was your
that's why.
experience like in terms of, the expectation versus reality? So when you are in the actual course, what was going through your thought process and what was it that was going in your mind when you were doing the first obstacle course race?
So basically, like there was running involved. So all runners or beginner runners, they always run fast in the first, say, 200, 300 meters. Next thing you know, you're like panting your breath out and
Yeah,
okay. But in between, if you're with a group of friends or you're in a group or a pair, you always think that you're not alone. You're
yep,
discussing, you're having fun together, you're discussing or talking about things while running,
yep,
while other people are also running with you, you know. So the pace is not like of a marathon pace or something. You're there to have fun. So in the beginning, I didn't felt like it was tiring. I was actually enjoying it. And then I was like telling my brothers, come on, let's go. Even I have my GoPro that time, you know.
yeah. And was that like a 5K distance or was that like a 10K distance back?
It was a 5K distance.
5K distance.
I think that's the only thing they give for free that time.
Oh, yeah. And I think that time even the t-shirts were a little bit different and they used to give a headband, that is for the number of races
Yeah.
that you do.
So the Desert Warrior Challenge, they give you a dog tag for
Yeah.
finish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember it was a cotton shirt afterwards, so it was okay. I'm using it until now for sleeping.
Brilliant. And going back to from 2014 or 15 to when you did your first race till now, 2022, how many obstacle races have you done so far? And what has been the overall experience been like?
Fast forward till now, I think I have had several, I don't know, approximately 50, 60 races, including
Yep.
the virtual ones. Like you have Spartan race, you have Tough Mudder race, you have Last Night Challenge.
Yep.
All of this, accumulated till now. Yeah, there's a lot of experience, I can
Yeah.
say. 50,
And
60.
And for our listeners, if you follow Jayson on his Instagram profile or if you're attending any obstacle course race, I definitely see him pretty much in each and every obstacle course race. And when we were chatting yesterday about, the podcast, I actually told him that he is a professional athlete because, you see him in pretty much all the obstacle course race. And everyone in Dubai who are from the Filipino community and all the athletes, I think everyone knows who Master Jayson is. So, I would definitely consider you as one of the OGs. And that was one of the reasons why, we decided to have you in one of our top podcasts as well. And can you tell us about any obstacle course race, Jayson, that you've done outside of UAE? And what has that experience been like?
So there is one in Oman,
Mm-hmm.
like a trifecta weekend. I think it's
Yep.
happening every year. I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually waiting for this year, but I didn't get the information till now.
Uh-huh.
So we have Oman. I've been running or racing in Romania.
Yep.
My wife is Romanian, so whenever we go for vacation, I make sure
Yep.
that vacation period falls within that race,
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so international, yeah. I haven't done Philippines. I'm surprised myself why I haven't been there.
Oh, I was thinking that, you might have done, because in Philippines, there are quite a lot of events which are taking place, especially this year.
Yeah,
And,
it became some popular event nowadays that I'm so excited to do one race at least in the Philippines, considering I'm always here. Traveling to Philippines is more expensive compared to traveling to Romania because you pay for the distance, the gas, the fuel for the airline.
Oh, I wasn't aware about that. In fact, going back to 2020, before the COVID, I had made plans to go to a couple of OCR events. And one of them was Batangas, and the other one was in Bohol, and quite a lot of other places. But COVID hit, and we could not make that plan. So, what was your experience been like, let's say, doing obstacle course race in Oman and in Romania? And if you were to compare that, let's say, to obstacle courses in UAE, what are the key differences and what are the expectations and what was your personal feeling in that?
So each one is different. They have their own pros and cons. The level of difficulty for me personally, I think Romania is quite challenging compared to Liwa. Last year's Liwa was really challenging for me. And then I came to Romania. It is all mountains. It's like up and down the mountains. And it's different feeling when you are running on the sand. Of course, it's quite challenging, but I felt more challenged climbing 6,000 feet of a mountain than the sand dune, So I had like a lot of muscle tension and cramps, which I didn't felt much in Liwa. So I basically survived Liwa, but here I can say I was like, if I had 9 lives, I have 1 life left, something like that.
And the point that you mentioned that it was much tougher at Liwa, I think there was another fellow athlete, I think it was MQ. He had gone to Romania as well, and he said the same thing as well, that the OCR in Romania was probably the hardest that he has ever done.
Yeah, Muhammad and his wife also. I've seen them there. I think Daniel was there also, one of the Romanian guys. So basically everyone is like surprised, like, why is it that challenging,
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, it's something to look forward to prepare for in the future. Yeah, let alone the Greece event, which I haven't done, but I heard it's also quite challenging than other races.
I was going to ask, a follow-up question on that. So let's say when you did your obstacle course race in Romania or let's say in Oman, are there any preparatory work that you do in terms of travel or in terms of looking at the course map? If there is, let's say, elevation, is there something different that you do? Or are there any areas that you look at?
Well, looking at the technicalities, I'm not that guy who is really so serious, like, oh, I have to know. I have
Yeah.
to measure the elevation and all. I have to prepare everything. So I'm more of a, let's enjoy this moment,
Yeah.
You're going there, you're going to prepare for transportation,
Yep.
the accommodation, the food,
Yep.
all right, what to do after the race.
Yep.
So traveling always requires preparation, like at least a month, just to make sure you don't fall into like other requirements going to that country,
Yep.
visa or whatever requirements or restrictions. But the most important part is preparation for the race, like the
Yep.
training. So if you're actually going for an age category, like competition wise,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest like 2 to 3 months preparation. But if you're just there to have fun with friends, your group of friends, open category, like the standard lifestyle of working out 3 times a week,
Yeah.
running 2 times a week, that's fine. That is okay. I mean, you'll manage to finish.
That is absolutely brilliant. Moving on to, obstacle course race, let's say within UAE. Let's talk about some of your favorite obstacle course race. I mean, there are quite a lot of different OCRs. And one, I'm not sure if it is an obstacle course race. One thing which happened in Abu Dhabi was Ring the Bell. Yeah,
Ring the
so,
bell is a different concept of, I think, functional competition. So where they incorporated some obstacles in the program or in the event.
okay.
So it's like you do some workout exercises and then you see an obstacle there like the monkey bars, the rings, rope climb, because Desert Shield Fitness,
Yeah.
they have this facility and they have
Mhm.
these obstacles. So they
Yep.
incorporated or made it as a hybrid event. So it's a
Excellent.
functional with obstacles, something like that.
Oh, brilliant. So in UAE, which is one of your favorite, something that you particularly look forward for?
Like as an event or?
Yeah. So among all the obstacle course race, let's say among Tough Mudder, among Spartan Race, among
Oh,
Desert
okay.
Warrior Challenge, which is it that is your favorite?
I like them all, because first of all, I'm an ambassador to the
Yep.
Spartan franchise. I'm also an ambassador to the Tough Mudder, the DEKA Fit, the
Yep.
Spartan Trail.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Desert
Uh,
Warrior Challenge. I'm not that much into participation. And other things like DEKA Fit is another new franchise from the Spartan.
yep.
So this is more like of a functional event rather than an obstacle event.
That is correct.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but in
So
other countries, I heard they have other events, which I
so
haven't tried yet.
like you have the mud race and you have the savage race and quite a Viking race as well. There are quite a lot of fun ones.
Correct. Yeah.
So Jason is being very loyal and not making any preference, which is also absolutely great. So tell our listeners, Jason, let's say, what is it that you particularly do? Let's say if there is an obstacle course race in UAE, is there anything that you do, let's say, something that you mentioned 2 or 3 months before the race if you're participating in an age category? Is there anything you'd like to tell listeners in terms of what is that they need to do? And any recommendations that you have, let's say, 3 to 4 months before the race, 2 months before the race, 1 month before the race, few days before the race, and on the actual race day? Is there any recommendation you'd have to make to them?
Yeah, based on experience, I've gone through all that. A day
Mm-hmm.
before the race, a week before the race, a month
Yeah.
before the race, 6 months before the I've done it all. I mean, I've tried it all. So it was like learning baby steps or rather
Yep.
learning from experience. So I would suggest or I would recommend, if you're going for any race, first of all, you have to love it, because if you don't love it, then you will not love what you're going to do in the preparation period. So if you love running, which is the basic foundation of all these obstacle course races, if you're really, really good at running, you'll have you can say 60% you finished the course. So
Yep.
let alone the 40% with the upper body strength, skills, agility techniques and all that. So preparation is really something to look forward if you don't want to end up having injuries in the end of the race. Otherwise, you will finish it with all cramps and all that. But it's up to you. Like if you went
Yep.
there for fun, that is okay. Expectations of injuries, for sure, don't be surprised.
Yep.
But again, if it's something you look forward to participating, like repeatedly, reoccurring every year, twice a year, then preparation is always there. 1 month is enough.
Yeah. And what I really like in something which I personally echo is, why you do an obstacle course race. For me, if you've seen my videos, I'm always smiling. I literally enjoy doing that. Whereas my other colleague and other co-host, they are the most serious when they are running. For them, maybe their goal of doing the obstacle course race is different. So I totally agree, with your point. Try to identify why you're doing this race and have a good time. So definitely brilliant point. And is there any recommendation you'd like to give the listeners, let's say, just a week before the race and on the race day? Is there anything specific that they need to do in terms of resting period or in terms of diet that they need to follow?
Yes. So if you haven't trained and it's the week before the race, I'm here for you. I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
You can have like minimal cramming sort of training, but it depends on the person. Like if he's actively doing other stuff, like let's say he's playing football or basketball, or he's going regularly to the gym, not really preparing specifically for the race, then you're okay. I mean, you have that ability
Fitness.
to adapt while you're in the course.
Mhm.
Let's say you haven't been running, like long distance running, and then suddenly you ended up in the 5K race. You'll end up running, walking, having fun with the course. You'll end up eventually finishing it, but not in the expected timing,
And I think what Spartan race has done, and I believe they started it with the night race that they started in during the Ramadan, the Nas night event. So for newcomers, they have started this thing where there is an option to run it with an SGX coach. And I think you were one of them who actually was helping newcomers as well, right?
Yes. So we were like given an opportunity and we grabbed it. Not everyone joined because some of them are racing, but we voluntarily joined it, and it is one of the core reasons why you're an SGX. As an SGX coach, you want to help out, you want to like provide your skills for them to develop themselves, So it was really a nice experience because we had a really very special person who joined us that day, and not everyone is able to do a race. And considering her conditions and all, and she managed to race. So she and some of the colleagues of hers joined the race, although we were like running and walking. It's the journey that she went through finishing the race.
And that is what becomes a memorable experience for her as well as for a coach as well, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And we had the photos and videos, and we shared it with them. And they were very, how you say, they ended up wanting more. Like, next time let's do this, next time let's do that.
That is a brilliant feeling. Yeah, and now moving on to my next question, Jayson. What is some of your favorite obstacles, if you have any 1, 2, or 3 favorite obstacles that you enjoy doing the most?
So in different races, I have some different favorites, you can say. So let's start with Spartan race. My all-time favorite is the barbed wire crawl.
Oh, okay.
So I love doing the crawl as fast as I can. Okay. Even I think I have a video online, but I have to find it. It's in Vimeo somewhere. So not everyone can sprint a crawl. Absolutely. All right. Everyone is actually just crawling like slow motion or rolling and getting dizzy after that. So my approach to the barbed wire is a sprint. You might have seen some recent videos from Spartan posts like fastest guy in the sprint.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
I can do this. Maybe I'm even faster than this guy, but I'm not sure. But, I have the videos, but I didn't post them just to brag. But my favorite is the barbed wire. Yeah,
we definitely need to go and look at that video because the video that you mentioned about the Spartan guy, he was fast. But knowing your history and knowing how you do, I definitely think you might be faster than him as well. But yeah,
who knows?
Great point.
I'm short guy. Maybe that guy is taller, so he might have been faster.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the other obstacles that you like?
In Spartan or in other? Okay, let's go with the other events like Tough Mudder, for example. What was the name? We're in
Is that the
the name.
water Loch Ness Monster?
No, it was like the 1/4 pipe wherein you run. I think it's called Everest.
Oh yeah,
Wherein you
correct.
run
Everest
until
2.0,
the
yeah.
top.
Yeah.
It was like a quarter pipe.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So the same with the desert warrior challenge.
Uh-huh.
So that quarter pipe is my favorite. Why? Because not everyone can actually sprint it and reach the top without the help of a rope or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially what I think for shorter people like me, because I'm only 5'2", I've tried that numerous times, but finally I end up using, the rope. But yeah, that is an absolutely brilliant obstacle. And I think the one at Desert Warrior Challenge, they always have that as the last obstacle, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's quite challenging, but it's nice when you reach it.
Absolutely. And since we've talked about your favorite obstacle, would you like to tell our listeners what are your least favorite obstacles? Something that you absolutely dislike here.
So in Spartan race, I mostly fail the multi-rig, especially in the piste, because of the endurance, and I'm not that physically fit, as you can see, but upper body is one of my weakness. Okay, so I ended up like almost touching the bell, or just before touching the bell. That is where I fail. So, but what they say, you have to love what you hate.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So that is where I'm training now from this past year. So surprisingly, I did well in the Spartan race in Romania. When I did the 3 races, it was a trifecta weekend. So beast, and then super, and then the sprint.
Sprint, okay.
Surprisingly, I did them, and it was great. Great feeling, I would say.
And then gradually the obstacles that you hate, once you start mastering it, that turns out to be one of your favorite ones also, right?
They're not my favorite yet.
Not yet.
Maybe one more race and it will be my favorite.
And one advice, let's say, because you are an SGX coach and you've done quite a lot of races, for the race directors, do you have any recommendations, something that you personally think? Are there any obstacles that could maybe completely be removed? Or are there any obstacles that you can think of that can be added, either onto Spartan race, either on Tough Mudder, Desert Warrior Challenge, Ice Warrior Challenge, or Ring the Bell? Anything that you have for, and this is directly for the race directors.
So it's basically, in my observation in the previous events, sometimes they duplicate the obstacles. For example, if they have like, how do they call this? In the last race I've been in Romania, so there was a spear throw.
Okay.
So somewhere in the mountain, there was a spear throw. And then there's again another spear throw near the race village.
Okay.
So it's like, I failed one and I passed one. Then the next day I passed both. I passed the other one. Then the other day I failed the other one. So that is one scenario. And in other races, like the wall or 12-foot wall, it was duplicated. Yeah. Even here in Romania, it was duplicated. And in other races in the previous years, I believe there were also duplications of others.
Yeah.
This one, it's only within the beast, sometimes in the super. Because in the beast, you have to have more obstacles, I believe.
Yep.
So those duplicates, instead of putting the same obstacle, they could have put something new, like out of the box. For example, like in Romania, there is like the balance beam, wherein you will cross the balance beam. This balance beam, you don't see it in Middle East. I never experienced the balance beam in Middle East.
And I think, what Desert Warrior Challenge they did in the last event, they had the number 10. That is something which was unique. They tried, right, in the last...
Yeah, something, yes. Some other races, they have their own unique obstacles. I'm not sure if they have like a policy like you do not copy this or something like that, but they can always be more creative in other things. Like, for example, they can use a balance beam while holding a candle or holding an egg, whatever. Just think out of the box.
Yeah, I think from a race director's point of view, they have this franchisee that they receive from, let's say, Spartan Race and Tough Mudder, that they are supposed to use X number of obstacles. But maybe there is some room of improvement, to go ahead and create their own race, something, which is localized to maybe UAE. Because I think there was this obstacle course race called as Old School Challenge, which was more of an obstacle course race catered to UAE. And I believe it just happened once or twice. But yeah, definitely great point. So, a good message to the race directors or maybe not to have duplicate course races. So that is definitely a good point as well. Jayson, based on your experience, do you have any suggestion or advice to fellow athletes and to listeners about obstacle course race in general?
So, first of all, it's fun.
Yep.
Some people initially look at it as, oh, I cannot do that. It's too challenging. Oh, I have weak muscles. Oh, I cannot run. These are like a representation of your life's challenges, So if you overcome this race, the first thing is signing up.
Yep.
If you sign up, it is like an acknowledgement that you want to face the challenge.
Yep.
All right. This is the first step. If you sign up, you're one step closer to whatever you want to achieve. And it's the same in life. If you have other things that you're going through in life, this is the same approach. You prepare for it, you sign up for it, have a goal, go through it, go with it with some people that you are with the community with or with your family, friends, everyone. You're not alone. You can always do it with anyone else. Just believe that you can. So it's the same thing in the race. If you sign up, you go for it. Just go through it. You'll never know. You might be strong and you just didn't know you were.
Yeah, and that is a brilliant advice. And to be honest, even when I was starting my podcasting, I was a bit skeptical, should I start my podcast or should I not do my podcast? And what you said makes perfect sense. The moment you sign up for a race, after then you automatically start training, you automatically start going to the gym. But let's say if you haven't signed up for the race, you don't have the motivation to go to the gym. So absolutely brilliant advice. I totally agree. And besides obstacle course race and running, which you're a sprinter as well, are there any sports that you particularly like or you're particularly actively involved in? And if that actually helps with obstacle course race as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I started as a sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still doing sprinting, by the way, in spite of doing training for long distance. I'm still doing my training for sprinting.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
I'm like a jack of all trades and a master of none because I'm not really excelling, maximizing my potential in each. So I'm still doing sprinting. I'm still doing the races in Dubai, like Ultimate Athletics to be specific. So surprisingly, I'm still managing better than when I was in college varsity,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm also playing basketball occasionally nowadays because of the COVID and also I'm like reluctant into playing close contact team sports, It's like when you play basketball, you have someone who needs to guard you and all that. So I was imagining like, 2 meters, 2 meters. Like you're holding the ball, you're telling the guy 2 meters. So since COVID came, everything stopped with basketball.
I see. And basketball is massive, especially in the Philippines and in US. I mean, the amount of money the athletes earn is absolutely humongous.
It is. You'll find a lot of basketball courts in every street corners in Philippines.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And now finally, we have 3 questions. I mean, 2 of them are not related to fitness and one is related to obstacle course race. The first one is, what is your favorite music genre, if you have any music genre that you particularly like?
I don't normally listen much to music, but I used to listen to alternative rock, R&B,
excellent.
Sometimes rock, like Metallica and all that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So, but while working out, for example, I'm not listening to music because I'm more focused on the repetitions. I'm more of thinking rather than being distracted by music. Well, some people tend to work better when they're having the earphones for music on and all that. But for me, it's not the case. Even with running, I tried it before. Even I bought my own. Tried listening to music.
It just doesn't work.
Synchronize my run tempo with the music sound and all that. But it didn't work for me much. So I didn't listen too much. But whenever I drive, I always listen to the radio, whatever is being played, mostly R&B. So that is fine. I mean, it's okay.
Brilliant. And the second question, which is not related to running or fitness or OCR, is there any secret you'd like to confess to our listeners Now, I'm hoping that you don't confess that you're a serial killer or you're fetish or anything. So, absolutely any secret that you'd like to tell our listeners.
If I tell it, it will not be a secret anymore.
That is correct. Yeah, that is a great point. Or anything that you want to get it out, as long as you feel comfortable saying that. Or
I'll give you a trivia though. Not everyone knows I'm lazy.
Oh, okay.
I am lazy.
But it's always the laziest people who are active. I mean, if you look at Jayson, you're there in pretty much all the obstacle course races. I think everyone knows who Jayson is. And you see him you're among the top and pro athlete, I would definitely say. So yeah, if you're saying you're lazy, I have this very notion that laziest people, when it comes to getting things done, they're definitely extremely active. And one final fun kind of a question: if you were to have a gym equipment that would be associated to you, what do you think that would be?
Do you know this curved treadmill? I think it's called an assault runner or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because I love sprinting.
Yeah.
So nowadays you will see them in the gym, but not all the gyms have it. I wish everyone have it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's associated with sprinting and all that. So.
And I think at the High Rocks event that hopefully will happen next year, I think they have a lot of those treadmill as opposed to the regular treadmill too, right?
Correct.
Brilliant. Yeah. And one final question is, with the Spartan World Championship coming up in Abu Dhabi in December, what are your expectations and what are you looking forward to?
So compared to last year's Liwa, I hope Wathbah will be a much better choice because Liwa is quite, the travel going there. We had to prepare for the tent. We have to reserve the tents and all that, camping, the food, the transportation. Like we were 3 drivers in one car, so we had to switch because one of us is sleepy. Like me, I hate long drives. So I tend to either drive 30 minutes and then swap, or I don't drive at all. But yeah, in the upcoming race, I believe I might go for an age category this time because last year I was more focused on running with a team. Some of them are like first time runners. Yeah. So I encourage them to sign up and then we will run as a group. So that's what we did. That's what we did in Al Ain last year. That's what we did in Liwa. So we were just running with the group. So we're having fun. We're waiting for each other. We started together. We ended up together. So this time around, probably I'll be going for age category and try to compete myself. Where do I stand in my current fitness level? Yep. Let's see, because I'm more prone now to injuries compared to previous years. We're not getting younger. Yeah, that's very true, in fact. And one final question is, do you want to tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you? Because what I've noticed is, when I've seen you running, you often motivate other people. And, a lot of people, especially in Abu Dhabi, they definitely look up to you. So if any of the listeners want to get in touch with you, is there any social media channel that you would like to recommend for yourself? Any ambassador codes that you want to share to them so that, they can use it? Or any training groups that you would want them to be aware about? Yeah, and sometimes part of my time during the day is I coach individuals who are keen into a personal training sort of stuff, how to improve their health, their fitness level, their nutrition and all. So I'm coaching them. Okay, so this, I have my clients, you can say, 2 to 3 times a week out of my normal regular job before doing the group sessions and all that. And the best way to contact people with reference to that, is it via the Instagram or can they send you an email or? Yeah, currently my clients are some people that knows me. So it's not really hard for them to contact me. Okay. But again, they can always come to me in WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram. So it's publicized. Yeah. Sounds perfect. So what I'll do is, I'll mention your Instagram profile in the show notes below. Yeah, you can find me in Facebook or Instagram as Master Jayson. There's another history on why we call myself Master Jayson. This is for another subject. Okay. And then, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook most of the time. Any discount codes? Currently, there are no active codes yet. It might come at the later stage, like a month or two before the races comes. Yeah, and what else was the other question about?
That's it. If you have any YouTube video or anything.
Oh, yeah. So we have this group called the Runtusiast.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the founders of the Runtusiast. We used to be a group here in Abu Dhabi, a running group. And then eventually the coaches left. Some of them went to Dubai, some of them left already. So there was a group and there was no coach. So I ended up like leading the team. So I said, in order for me to more effectively guide them, I have to get my certification. So I did my certification and then I led the group, So we have this Runtusiast group. It's like running group.
Yeah.
And now we're also doing obstacle courses. And we're having like 3 training sessions in a week. So we have the long distance running, like 5 to 10K. And then we have the sprinting for the athletics. And then
Which is your favorite, right?
Yeah, in the track, Zide Sport City. And then we have the cross training, like the full body strengthening, HIIT exercises, cardio, and all that. Anyone can join. It's for free anyway.
And, if there are any sponsors, if you guys are probably listening to this, I mean, what I'll do is, I'll mention in the show notes your Instagram ID, the training group that you have, and probably also mention, if anything else that you'd want me to add on that.
These guys from the Philippines, we're not that close, but I know some of them. If you want to get in touch, I can try to reach them out. Probably they're busy training because they're always competing national level,
Yeah, pro athletes. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, so what we were thinking of, just focusing right now for UAE athletes. And then in the second stage, maybe get the race directors. So, Duncan and, even Ryan and maybe even Spartan Joes.
So I'm not yet really expert on the NFTs, but what I know is NFTs, non-fungible token.
Yeah.
It's something unique that it cannot be duplicated or whatever. The NFT you're talking about now, is it as a video or is it the podcast as an NFT or?
It'll be more like a 3D image.
Oh, great.
So the whole idea is because I'm working in the metaverse field as well. So maybe 2 to 3 years down the line, let's say whoever gets this NFT in the metaverse platform, they'll be able to use that 3D NFT. And right now, to be honest, the only reason for doing that is because that is in the hype right now. There is there is very little use case. I'm not sure if you know that there was this NFT called Crypto Arabs that got sold for $7 million. So these are, there is just an image of a rock called as Ether Rock that got sold for $8 million. So, because it is unique, it cannot be replicated, it cannot be duplicated. So, it's being sold for, we are not expecting to make any money, but let's say someone who gets it, if, OCR is famous, they might be able to earn millions and millions. And right now there is the Museum of the Future. They are also planning to release an NFT.
Does this count as an NFT?
100% yes. To be honest, Gary Vee, right?
Yeah. Yes, Gary Vee, I know.
If you get time, just doodle Gary Vee's NFT. So what he's done is he's done exactly what you did.
Oh, really? And people buy them, yeah?
His was sold for $200,000, $300,000, exactly like what you did. It is called as doodle. So what you can do is, with these NFTs, you can attach a couple of things. So the same thing about that is an NFT. But what you can say is anyone who buys this NFT can get lifetime free personal training with me. Can get let's say if you want to give them Spartan Race free ticket, so you can say whoever buys this NFT from Jayson gets free training from me, can get a free ticket. Let's say because you get ambassador codes, you can give them free. So right now the hype is, so people are saying, you know what, I like this NFT, I want to have this one. People are paying millions in fact. But yeah, that is exactly what you did is an NFT. Yeah, it is crazy. And our whole idea is to have 7 NFTs, each replicating an embryo. But we're still in the works of what it is. And
you gave me an idea now. Maybe I will look into this and NFTs and all that.
Yeah. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me, because this is what I've been doing since 2013. And that's about it, Jayson. Thank you really sorry much for doing this. Really appreciate, you sharing your point of view from an obstacle course race, and really appreciate you doing this, yeah.
Just one note.
Yeah.
I always see you in the races, especially Top Mother. I
Yeah.
didn't know you back then, but I always see you like with a GoPro guy. So this is
Yeah.
the guy. I said, I've seen this guy again. Then another race, I've seen this guy again. The same GoPro you're holding.
Yeah, for me, my reason for doing obstacle course race is purely work-life balance.
Yeah.
So, for me, if you see, I'm smiling most of the time. And something, which I really like what you said, is just having a good time. So for me, that is kind of like, the me moment, just to enjoy. And what you said, the moment you sign up for the race, that's when you try to, get motivated. So yeah, for me,
Exactly, yes.
and because for me personally, my first passion is, playing drums. The second one is stand-up paddle boarding, and then finally obstacle course race. So, but yeah, thank you very much,
Definitely.
Jason, for doing this. Really, really appreciate it, man. Have a nice weekend as well.
Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate
Thanks,
it
man.
too.
Have a nice weekend, Jason.
Likewise. Take care, man.
Bye, bye.
See you around.
See
Bye
you
bye.
around.